What is going on, Crimson City? My name is Crimson CBAD, and in this video, guys, I'm going to be bringing you our draft analysis going into the WBE, the World Battle Entertainment League. You guys have no idea what this is. You guys have no idea what any of this is about. I'm going to be sure to link some other content creators in the description of this video. This league was started by Dan, aka A-Drive, and myself, as well as a bunch of other fantastic creators, are getting together to bring this league to you guys. Hopefully before Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon does drop. If you guys missed the live draft earlier today, make sure you guys go watch the replay over on twitch.tv/adrive. They broke down the entire full draft recap. Everybody's teams, all their thoughts and opinions on that. Really awesome stuff. So I'm going to talk about my draft picks a little bit. I'm not the world's biggest draft analysis fan, but considering that I'm in Seattle at the time of the live draft taking place, I wanted to go on ahead and get this together for you guys so I could give you some of my thoughts, some of my feedback as to why I picked what I picked, and going into my mindset throughout the entire league. So first thing that I want to say before I start talking about the team is that, in my opinion, and shout out to everybody in the Detroit Steel Wings front office, this is the best team I've ever drafted in league history, in my opinion. That is my favorite. I love it. We'll see how I perform with it. I'm not 100% sure, but yeah, if you guys are excited, be sure to leave a like on the video. You guys' support is always greatly appreciated, and of course, be sure to subscribe so you do not miss out on more World Battle Entertainment content. I believe week 1 matches are going up this weekend, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, that'll be fun. We're gonna hop right on into this, and our first overall pick was Latios. And if you guys aren't familiar with the rules of the WBE, there's a reason why I picked Latios first off, other than the fact that it's stupid, busted, good, broken. Oh my goodness. When you draft a Mega Pokemon, not only do you get that Mega Pokemon, you also remove the base Pokemon from the draft pool. So grabbing Latios removed regular Latios from play, which is really nice. Rule that was implemented because there were only 12 coaches. We didn't want a Latios and a Latios put together with a Mega Latios and a Mega Latios. So grabbing one of these things, remove one of those from play. Also, the Z Crystal move you guys see on the screen, if you guys aren't familiar with the draft, we also had to draft each captain, or each coach had to draft a Z Crystal. So any one of our mons can use only the one type of Z Crystal, but our Mega Pokemon can also use it. So I can either run, let's say I were to draft Draconium Z, I can either run Latios holding the Latiosite, or I can run Latios holding Draconium Z. And we don't need a Mega Evolve first turn. Very interesting. It does add a whole new field of, depth to the league format play, which I'm really excited about. But Latios, let's talk about it really quickly. Base 80 HP, and then every other stat just kind of through the roof. Base 100 attack, 120 defense, 140 special attack, 150 special defense, and 110 speed. Absolutely monstrous. The levitate ability. This thing hits like a truck. The coverage is unbelievable. Physical, special. You can run a wall. You can run it however you want to. Absolutely fantastic. I think this mon, people are familiar with Latios. And I went with Latios over Latios just because it's a little bit more bulky. Latios would hit harder, but overall, especially with the boost in the offense and the defense that it gets, Latios was really like the good choice here. It's a defogger, gets access to Calm Mind, a Draco Meteor, you can run physical, Dragon Claw, and Earthquake, gets access to Energy Ball, Healing Wish support, Ice Beam, can set Light Screen, Outrage, Psychic, Psyshock, Shadow Ball, Shadow Claw, gets access to Sucker Punch, which is really cool, can be Tailwind support, can run T-Wave, can Toxic. Can't trick people, unfortunately, with the Z Crystal or the Latios, but that'd be, cool to know. It is a Wish Passer. It gets a ton of coverage moves. Ton of coverage moves. I'm really looking forward to using this thing. And going into this, with Latios being such a very bulky Pokemon, does have weaknesses to Dark, has weaknesses to Bug, has weaknesses to Ice, has weaknesses to Dragon, has weaknesses to Fairy. So I wanted a mon that would pair really well with this in checking all of those weaknesses, as well as Latios being able to check its weaknesses as well. And that actually is the mascot pick, Skarmory. Skarmory, we can talk about that really quickly. Really good ability in Sturdy. This Pokemon is at full HP. It survives one hit with at least 1 HP, immune to any OHKO moves. Very, very nice. 140 defense, 70 special defense, 70 speed, 80 attack, 65 base HP. Very, very solid mon. Very, very kind of somewhat easy to prep for, but also Skarmory is easy to prep for other teams as well. The whole thing with this is that the Bug weakness that Latios has, we do not have. The Ice weakness that Latios has, we're neutral to. The Fairy weakness that Latios has, we resist. The Dragon weakness that Latios has, we resist. It's very, very nice. Obviously not a Dark resist. But then also looking at Skarmory, the 2 weaknesses that it has being Fire and Electric, Latios also resist that. So they do kind of pair very, very well together. Skarmory is really nice. Really solid hazard support mon for Draft League format. Has access to Spikes. Has access to Stealth Rocks. Also is able to phase mons around with Whirlwind. Very good taunt user. I believe it does get access to U-turn as well. No, it does not. Never mind. Yikes. Does get, obviously, Brave Bird. Dual Stab is very nice. Very good Toxic Abuser in the tier. Easy to prep for, too. Obviously, if Pokemon on the, if, you know, enemies do have, you know, they drafted something like a Magnezone or a Magneton. We're here rocking Shed Shell Boys. We Shed Shell Boys, which is really nice. It can run moves like Counter. It can run moves like Facade, my infamous GBA Season 4 SD Salicberry sets. Already talked about Rocks and whatnot. Really good phaser. Very, very good Pokemon. Very, very good from a defensive standpoint. Very, very hard to knock out unless you're hitting it very hard super effectively. And even that's the case, we do have a switch into that with our Mega Latios, which is really, really cool. So coming back around round 3, so we had to go around. We grabbed our Mega pick. We grabbed our Tier 1 pick. Looking around to see what we want to grab, and Nidoqueen was available, but I thought it was kind of too early to start grabbing Tier 3 Mons. So the next mon that we went on ahead and grabbed is Scolipede. Now this is Kachow, this is our NASCAR bug, this is Vroom Vroom, however you want to call it. This mon is, this is the Pokemon that you have to prep for, and there's going to be like somewhat of a little bit of a theme with the team, is that every time you see a Pokemon appear on screen, if you yourself were going up against just one of these in draft format, you're like, oh, I got to make sure to prep for this, like specifically for this. I mean, like a Skarmory, you got to know how to trap and kill that thing. Mega Latios, you got to have a game plan. Something like Scolipede, very, very nice. Obviously, the speed boost ability that it does have is phenomenal. 100 base attack on 112 base speed. Very, very nice. Baton Pass, we cannot pass, I believe, more than 1 stat, if I'm not mistaken. Let me double check this really quickly here. Baton Pass rule, you can pass speed alone, you can pass any number of stats minus speed, you cannot pass a stat plus speed. So I can run a Poison Point Scolipede with the Swords Dance Baton Pass and pass that around, but we do have access to passing speed to other Pokemon, which is very, very nice. Has a ton of coverage moves. Aqua Tail, Earthquake, Gyro Ball. I don't know why you'd ever run Gyro Ball on this thing, but Mega Horn, Poison Jab, obviously Protect, gets Rock Slide, gets access to Spikes as well. Obviously can sub Superpower, Swords Dance we talked about. Also sets up Toxic Spikes. So just within our first 3 picks, we have 2 hazard setters and 2 hazard forms of hazard removal, which is very, very nice. Obviously things like X's or all that other stuff. I'm looking to see if there's any, I mean, Iron Tail, Smart, I didn't know this thing got Smart Strike. This thing gets access to Smart Strike. Really, really cool Pokemon. I'm really looking forward to using it. We can speed pass to a lot of other threatening Pokemon, which is very, very nice. Even speed passing into something like Mega Latios. I mean, if you run a Scarf Pokemon that can try to outrun Mega Latios, all of a sudden you get that +1 speed boost. Bada bing, bada boom, you're done. You are done. So, Scolipede is a very nice pickup. Obviously, you run like more of a Life Orb set, maybe even a Black Sludge supportive set, a very fast, you know, Toxic Spike setter, things like that. I'm looking forward to bringing it. One of the things looking into this now, looking at the points that we had, looking at what was available, now that we have the ability to speed pass, you know, our thoughts going into this were we can speed pass into absolutely threatening monsters, and we should pick up a few nukes that, with given a +1 or a +2 speed boost, just absolutely can run shop. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is our boy Kaldur. Now, Kaldur here, very, very powerful Pokemon. Again, you're going to notice a theme of grabbing Pokemon that just you literally have to prepare for. So Kaldur, 3 really, really good abilities offensively in Draft League format. Has access to the hidden ability Iron Fist, has access to Sheer Force, and my favorite ability in Gen 7, which is Guts. And if you don't know why that is, there's a burn nerf in Gen 7, only losing, I believe it was 6% of the HP overall when burned. So a Guts user actually just destroys, especially with a monster like Kaldur that has reliable access to reliable recovery in Drain Punch. If I stumble over my words, I apologize. A little bit early preparing for Seattle, but I'm going to try to get all my thoughts out for this for you guys. 105 base HP, 140 attack, 95 defense, speed, base speed of 45. Nothing crazy. However, like I said, pass a speed boost or 2 to it, then all of a sudden it becomes very, very threatening. Special defense 65 isn't too good. Normally you see Pokemon like this running some sort of an Assault Vest max special defense sets, but does have a ton of physical moves. Has access to Bulk Up, has access to Drain Punch, Earthquake, Fire Punch, Hammer Arm has access to Ice Punch, Knockoff, Mach Punch, Poison Jab, Power Up Punch, Rock Slide, Stone Edge, Thunder Punch, all that fun stuff. Super powerful, just devastatingly powerful, strong fighting type moves. Very, very solid Pokemon. The opponent is going to have to plan for this. You are going to have to find a switch into this monster. I mean, not much does. Not much does unless you have, like, the Eviolite resist of this mon. But even then, a knockoff into a Drain Punch, a Guts Boost to Drain Punches, is nothing to laugh at. So, that was one of the Pokemon we decided could be really, really good if past his Speed Boost, too. The Flying and Psychic resist that it does have, that's one of the other things I forgot to mention. The Flying and Psychic and Fairy weaknesses that it does have are covered by things like Skarmory and Megalodios. Even Scolipede, Fire, Rock, Psychic, and Flying. Off the top of my head, Skarmory and Megalodios kind of check. I do want a little bit more of an Ice resist right now, and I do want a little bit more of a Fire resist right now. And lo and behold, would you look at that? We grabbed one following up with that. We grabbed Marina, our first tier 3 pick of the draft. Marina, again, if I say there's a theme one more time, you guys are gonna like kill me. There's a theme here. There's a theme here between very, very offensive Pokemon. Very, very bulky offense. Very, very bulky offense. Not typically how I would draft. But like I said, as this draft breaks down, you guys will see why I believe it is so good. We're 5 picks in. Honestly, not really overlapping any types, which is phenomenal in my opinion. Marina, base 80 HP, 74 in attack and defense, 126 special attack and 116 special defense. Only has a base speed of 60, but passes speed boost to Scolipede and bada bing bada boom. Specs Marina really has no switch-ins. Obviously has access to priority in Aqua Jets. Can run Blizzard, Dazzling Gleam, Energy Ball, Hydro Pump, Hyper Voice, Ice Beam, Moonblast, Psychic Scald, Shadow Ball, Surf. Can be a Toxic user. Nothing too crazy about this. Obviously, in my opinion, it's pretty straightforward. We can Sparkling Aria just for the style points, but this thing is pretty straightforward. You strap a Specs onto it, you strap a Life Orb, you strap, you know, leftovers onto this thing. All of a sudden, you've got base 126 Moonblast, Scalds, Hydro Pump, Surfs, whatever you have coming out, straight out the gate. It's very, very threatening. Very, very good bulky water type. I did want to go for something like Vaporeon, but Megalodios already had us covered on Wish support. And Vaporeon's kind of one-directional. I also like the fact that we have a Fairy now. So now we cover that Dragon weakness that Megalodios has, which is very, very nice. The Grass immunity, or the Grass weakness is covered by Skarmory. The Electric weakness is covered by Megalodios. I still would like an Electric immunity on the team, but as of right now, we've got a really good synergistic core of Pokemon that I do want to keep going forward with this. Very, very good special offensive user, just in case we don't feel like bringing Megalodios that week. Marina is absolutely nothing to sleep on. Nothing to sleep on, in my opinion. Coming back around, we are going to be grabbing another tier 3 pick, and this is one of my favorite Pokemon that I've always wanted to use in Draft League format, a Lowland Marowak. Now, it was between this and Chandelure. Coming around this time, we were like, you know, I've got enough points. I could grab something like Chandelure and a Lowland Marowak. Or Chandelure and Jolteon, excuse me. Jolteon has that Electric immunity. Chandelure, Ghost Fire, really, really good offensive typing. But I saw Lowland Marowak here, and I was like, you know, Chandelure is kind of one-dimensional. You know, you can run like a Spadef set with Will-O-Wisp. You can run a Subcalm Mind set. You can run Specs. You can run Scarf. You can run Trick, all that cool stuff. Very, very good offensive user, but we have a lot of offenses covered. And a Lowland Marowak here, very, very solid Pokemon, has access to 3 really fantastic abilities in Draft League format. Has the Rock Head ability, does not take recoil damage, so Flare Blitz coming off from this thing is going to be absolutely destructive. We have Lightning Rod, which does give us an Electric immunity, thankfully. That does cover the Electric weakness on Skarmory and Marina here. And then Curse Body. If this Pokemon is hit by an attack, there's a 30% chance that the move gets disabled. Seriously, 3 fantastic abilities. You know, if you prep for the Rock Head one and all of a sudden I've got an Electric immunity, crazy. If you think I've got the Electric immunity and all of a sudden I launch a Flare Blitz off, absolutely wild. Curse Body, again, you know, you just can't hang. You just can't hang. Base 80 attack, nothing too crazy, but it does have access to the item Thick Club, which does double the attack, bringing it to a total of 160, if I'm not mistaken. My math could be wrong. Someone in the comment section can let me know about that. I don't forget how the stats work and whatnot. Well, let's just take a look here. Let's just, for the sake of discussion, let's just take a look here. If we give it that Thick Club held by a Cubone or a Marowak, the attack is doubled. So if we're running like an Adamant Alolan Marowak with a Thick Club, at level 50, that bad boy is sitting at 290 attack, which is disgusting. So a Rockhead Flare Blitz is crazy. Speed passing from Scolipede is very nice. This thing actually does have a very wide variety of moves, which I like. It does allow it to be either offensive or defensive. It is another Stealth Rocker, so it does take the pressure off bringing Skarmory in case we don't need it. Special attack isn't too crazy. 50 base special attack. Boomerang, which is really nice. Base power 50, 90% accuracy, hits 2 times in 1 turn. Thick Club boosted, obviously that's going to be detrimental. It's not regular Marowak, so it's not stab, but even still, though, it's a really good chance to break sashes on opposing Pokemon. Has access to Earthquake, Fire Punch, Flame Charge. We talked about that Flare Blitz. Can even run Hex. Has access to Iron Head, Knockoff, Low Kick, Perish Song, which I didn't know I got. Power Up Punch, Rock Slide, can be a Seismic Toss user. Shadow Bone is its signature move, 20% chance to lower the target's defense by 1. Very, very nice. Things don't want to take 2 Shadow Bones, especially if you get the defense shop. Stone Edge, like I said, it can set Stealth Rocks. It also has access to Swords Dance for setting up, which is very, very nice. Will-O-Wisp user as well. So like I said, you can run, it has access to Belly Drum as well. Oh my god, I didn't even know that. So, very, very good Pokemon. Has a lot of, has a wide variety of moves, allowing it to be a very, very good fit for our team. The Dark weakness that it does have, handled by Kaldur, handled by Marina. The Water weakness that it does have, handled by things like Latios, handled by things like Marina as well. The Rock weakness that it has, handled by things like Kaldur. Water, Dark, Ghost, the Ghost weakness that it has. We don't have a good Ghost check yet. We don't have a good Ghost check yet, so going into this, we were thinking to ourselves, you know, what would be a really, really solid Ghost check? You know, we talked about the Chandelure and Jolteon pairing, but seeing as how we grabbed our Electric Immunity and a Ghost Fire type, we were like, all right, well, let's grab our Ghost Resist. And hello, might I introduce you to my friend Umbreon. Umbreon is a very, very bulky boy. He's a very, very bulky boy with the Synchronize ability. 95 base HP, 110 base defense, 130 base special defense. Synchronize is really nice because you really need a solid Steel type or Poison type Pokemon to drop a Toxic on this thing if you want to wear it down. Even Will-O-Wisp users got to be careful. If you're not a Fire type Will-O-Wisp user, all of a sudden you burn me, I burn you. Same thing with Thunder Wave. If you're not an Electric type or a Ground type Thunder Wave user, all of a sudden you're paralyzing me. That's something to keep in mind because this thing also does have access to Heal Bell. So while you might be toxicing me, I toxic you in return. I also click Heal Bell, which clears me. Umbreon's a very good Cleric. Very, very kind of straightforward. Does have access to Baton Pass for switching around, which is nice. Does have access to, like I said, Heal Bell. Does have reliable recovery in Moonlight. Priority in Sucker Punch. Good Wish Passer. Good Toxic user. Very, very bulky boy. It's our Ghost Resist. The Bug weakness that it does have is, you know, taken care of by things like Marina and Skarmory. The Fairy weakness that it does have is checked by things like Skarmory and a Lowland Marowak to an extent. Scolipede as well, although it probably doesn't want to take a very offensive Fairy type move. And then the Fighting weakness that it does have is also taken care of by things like a Lowland Marowak and Marina. So you guys see a team. We've got a really synergistic, bulky offense here. We do have, obviously, our bulky defensive mons, which is really nice to have. We're also covering all of our type weaknesses and structuring our draft so that way everything can work together based on what we need, which is exactly why I love this draft so much. Coming back around, we have 2 forms of hazard control. We have Defog on Skarmory and Defog on Latios, and I wasn't the world's biggest fan, and one thing to note that I didn't mention about a Lowland Marowak, obviously it's a Ghost type, it is a Spin Blocker, which is very, very nice. A Spin Blocker that does obviously get access to Will-O-Wisp, does obviously get access to a lot of other really, really good moves. So, something to note here. But we only had 2 forms of hazard removal, and those were both Defoggers, so I did want to pick up a really nice hazard spinner. The Hitmons were going, if I'm not mistaken. Nobody really wants it. Nobody drafts Avalugg because they want to, but because they have to. So, our tier 4 pick is actually Kamala. Now, Kamala is a very, very interesting Pokemon. Another status abuser with things like... So, we talked about how Umbreon can easily absorb a status and then Heal Bell it off. Kamala is a very, very nice Pokemon for absorbing those statuses as well. It does have the Comatose ability. This Pokemon cannot be status and is considered to be asleep. So, let's talk about Kamala really quickly. I just spit all over my monitor. 115 base attack, 65 base HP, 65 defense, 75 in special attack, 95 in special defense, 65 in speed. Nothing too crazy to talk about here, but it does get access to Rapid Spin, which is really nice. It does have access to set up and bulk up. It also does get Swords Dance, if I'm not mistaken. It is a Wish Passer. It does have access to U-Turn. It can use things like Acrobatics, Brick Break, Earthquake. It can set up with Calm Minds. It has access to Play Rough, Rock Slide, Shadow Claw, Sucker Punch, Priority, which is really nice. Wood Hammer, 120 base grass type move, 120 base power grass type move. Let me just make sure. Psych Up. It can Psych Up. That's really cool. That's really cool, actually. Also gets access to Work Up. Is a Yawn user as well. So very, very nice Pokemon. It can spin. It's a Ghost immunity. The Fighting weakness that it has is nerfed by a few Pokemon on our team, such as the Skarmory and such as the Lowland Marowak and such as the Marina, excuse me. Megalodios as well, I suppose. Really, really cool Pokemon. It rapid spins. It's very niche. It can U-turn around. It can Wish Pass just like Umbreon can. So now we have 2 Wish Passers, which seriously, like, I love this draft. I love this draft so much. The fact that it can Wish Pass, the fact that it has priority and Sucker Punch, the fact that it can Yawn, the fact that it can absorb statuses. Very, very cool Pokemon in my opinion. Coming back around, so like I talked about in the beginning, we had to grab Z Crystals, and I believe Rockium Z and Flyinium Z at this point were the only 2 to go in the draft. So I wanted to grab what was, and both of those are very, very detrimental. Obviously, nobody wants to take a Supersonic Sky Strike. Obviously, nobody wants to take a Continental Crush. We were debating on Fightinium Z. Not too many of our Pokemon got access to very, very hard-hitting fighting type moves, though the ones that did absolutely ran house. Things like Scolipede, things like Kaldur. I wanted something that would kind of go all around the team, and I kind of wanted something that, if it had access to the move, you know, a very, very commonly accessible move, because as you can see, we still have, including our Z Crystal, 3 more Pokemon to draft for. So we went on ahead and grabbed Groundinium Z, the Devastating, or not the Devastating, I was going to use Devastating as an acronym, but that's Devastating Drake. Is it Continental Crush? No. What's the rock move? Rock move is Continental Crush. Tectonic Rage, Tectonic Wrath, something like that. Tectonic Rage. That's what Groundinium Z is. Pretty much Z Earthquake, Z Spike, Z Dig, whatever you want to use for it. A lot of our Pokemon have access to very, very hard-hitting ground moves. Skarmory has access to Spike. Scolipede has access to Earthquake. Lowland Marowak has access to Earthquake. Kamala has access to Earthquake, if I'm not mistaken. It does. Latios has access to Earthquake, so we can run a physical set with Groundinium Z as opposed to running Latios. Kaldur gets access to Earthquake, things like that. So, very, very hard-hitting move. Obviously, unless you have, you know, a very bulky grass type or a you know, levitate user or a flying resist, or a flying type, I should say, Groundinium Z is going to come off hard. That's a base 100 ground move all of a sudden boosted up by a Z Crystal. So very, very threatening. A lot of our Pokemon have access to it. A lot of Pokemon that can be drafted still do have access to moves like Earthquake and other ground moves that can benefit from it. So that's why I went with Groundinium Z. In my opinion, it's a very, very common Z Crystal set to run. So something like Psychium Z we could only run on like Latios, Marina, yeah, something like that. So I wanted to go with Groundinium Z. It does give access to more of our mons to have access to that Z Crystal usage. So coming back around here, talking about we have an electric immunity and a Lowland Marowak, but sometimes I don't want to run, you know, Lightning Rod. Sometimes I want to run Rockhead. We do not have, you know, our rockers right now. We've got good rockers. We've got good rockers, but I want that straight up electric immunity. I want that. And that was my boy Rideon right here. Rideon is a good boy. Rideon is a good boy. Fun fact, the very first Pokemon ever created, if I'm not mistaken. Lightning Rod, Rockhead, and Reckless. So things like Rockhead and Reckless don't only take advantage of Double Edge. I wish this thing got Head Smash. Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon, give Rideon Head Smash. Lightning Rod ability, obviously, if I want to raise its special attack, but it is a very, very good electric immunity. Has access to Eviolite, 105 base HP, 130 base attack, 120 base defense, 45 special defense, which isn't too much, but like I said, we run that Eviolite, you run some special defense investment, and all of a sudden, it's really, really good. Rideon's a very, very solid stealth rocker. Rideon's a very, very solid physical wall. Obviously, it does have glaring weaknesses 4 times in water and grass, and then it does have that 2 times ice weakness, which is very unfortunate. Or it might be neutral. I don't know. Somebody always comments on the fact that I don't always know my type matchups, but I run calcs for a reason. So, can be a phaser with Dragon Tail, has access to stealth rocks, like I said. Aqua Tail, Avalanche, Body Slam, Brick Break, Crunch, Double Edge, like I said, can get boosted by the Rockhead or the Reckless ability. Earthquake, it can be another Groundinium Z abuser. You can run Mix, you can run Fire Blast, you can run Fire Punch, Flamethrower, Focus Blast, Hammer Arm, Ice Punch, Ice Beam, Ice Fang, Mega Horn. So there's a ton of things. It can also be a setup sweeper with things like Rock Polish and Swords Dance as well. Double Dance Rideon is very, very effective, especially using that Eviolite to boost its own natural defenses. So very, very good. The water weakness that it does have, checked by things like, you know, Mega Latios, checked by things like Marina. The grass weakness that it does have, checked by things like Skarmory, checked by things like Scolipede, checked by things like Mega Latios, checked by things like a Lowland Marowak. The ice weakness that it does have, checked by things like the Lowland Marowak, checked by things like Marina. So we're actually we're still what, 10 picks in, 9 mons in, 10 overall picks in, and haven't overlapped any typing, which is seriously, I love this draft. I love this draft. You'll see when we polish it up. Everything that I like about it. So coming up next here, we're lacking an electric type. We're lacking an electric type on our team, which is very, very bad. And fast electric types are really, really good in draft format. We're down to a tier 5. After our point usage, we can only afford 2 more tier 5 Pokemon. But sitting down there, all the way down there in tier 5, is my boy Raichu. Not our Lowland Raichu. regular Raichu. The Lightning Rod ability, it gives an electric immunity and does boost the special attack by 1. Special attack base 90, base 90 attack as well, and then 110 base speed. Very, very solid speeds here. Something to also talk about, things like Rideon, things like even an offensive Kamala don't appreciate a speed boost from Skolipede going towards the opposing team. So if they get that speed boost and Swords Dance Rideon, Eviolite Rideon with a speed boost is very, very threatening. So let's talk about my boy Raichu. Also does have the static ability, which is nice to know. Has access to setting up with agility, can encore Pokemon, also gets extreme speed, which I didn't even know. I don't know how it gets extreme speed, if that's an event or not, but that's actually really cool to note. Gets access to Fake Out, Grass Knot, Knockoff, can Nasty Plot. It has Nuzzle, 100% chance to paralyze the opposing Pokemon. Can be a Seismic Toss user. Things like Signal Beam, Surf, Thunder, Thunderbolt, Thunder Wave, Toxic, Volt Switch, Volt Tackle, which is super, super awesome. Also a Wish Passer. Very, very good to know. So, Charge Beam, obviously. Electro Webs, lowering speed for setting up, I suppose. Does not get, I believe it gets Dig, maybe. Yeah, so it can run like Z-Dig if need be for like a super niche pick. But pretty kind of straightforward, kind of one-directional. Can Wish Pass, does have extreme speed priority, which is super, super nice to know. Nothing too crazy about it. You know, very, very fast electric type. Electric immunity does have the coverage that we needed to with like grass and water coverage for the pesky ground types that can come in. Obviously can run the tech hidden powers for coverage as well. Switches in and out. Very, very cool Pokemon. Very, very cool Pokemon to have on the team. And last but not least, we're missing either a grass type or an ice type. And bulky grass types are a must-have in League format. There was, and so many people, I've trashed this pick myself in the past. I know it, I have. So many people have been like, we were talking about Servine, we were talking about Go-Goat, we were talking about Simisage, and I actually decided to go with this bad boy right here, and someone in the comment section just got so triggered. I went with Meganium. Meganium is another Cleric on the team that does provide Cleric support, so that way we don't necessarily need to bring Umbreon. Can spam things like Leech Seed, has phasing abilities with Dragon Tail, does have access to Earthquakes, abuse that Groundinium Z. Recovery in things like Giga Drain into Leech Seed, like I said. My phone just keeps going off during the middle of this. I'm so sorry about that. Has access to moves like Outrage, can set up with Swords Dance, can Toxic, reliable recovery, and things like Synthesis, can set screens. So, you know, with a bulky grass type, you know, in Tier 5, you really, you know, you don't get your things like Tangrowth. I wanted Tangela, but, you know, Double N and the Pittsburgh Pichus grabbed Tangela just, you know, at the beginning of the round, so I was like, yikes! But the whole deal with this thing is that it does what I need it to do. You know, it sponges hits, it can absorb them, it can spam Leech Seed to force switches, it can Dragon Tail things out to phase over hazards if we do manage to hazard stack with things like Skarmory and Skolipede, Rideon, Kamala, or, you know, a Lowland Marowak, whoever else we have spiking, setting hazards that week. You know, can shrug off things like Toxic with Aromatherapy, can heal, but can, you know, Aromatherapy up for the rest of the team. It does what I need it to do, honestly, and as much of a trash pick as it is that some people say, I mean, base 80 HP and then 100 in defense is really, I mean, like, it doesn't get much, but I don't need it to do much at this point. I don't need it to do much. I need a bulky grass type to just kind of sponge hits. So, weaknesses are taken care of by the rest of the team. Honestly, at this point, the only typing that we're missing is ice, and I'm okay not having an ice pick. I was talking about dropping Conkeldurr and Meganium for things like Serperior and Crabominable, just like my own OCD of having every type covered without any overlap, but I really like the team. So, if you guys have enjoyed, I'm all done. I've been rambling for a while. I hope everything made sense coming out to you. If you guys have any questions about the draft, if you guys have any comments about the draft, let me know in the comment section. I'm in Seattle as this goes up. I'll try my best to answer any questions about it in the comment section down below. I do believe Week 1 matches start this week and will go up this Sunday. And I believe, first out, we are playing A-Drive in the St. Louis Rampardos. So I'm looking forward to that match. Dan and I obviously have a great rivalry going on in Draft League format. Really looking forward to taking on his team and preparing for that. I'm really looking forward to building this with this team as well. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you have enjoyed, be sure to leave a like. Don't forget to subscribe so you do not miss out on future WBE content, including our Week 1 battle and team builder. Those will be going up every week as well. All that being said, I want to remind you guys to be great and do great. I'm going to let this outro bang. I'm going to talk to you all soon. Later.